There we
Okay,
go.
Okay.
Can everyone hear each other?
beautiful.
Am I
Philosophical,
audible?
can you speak?
Yes.
Yep, great. W,
Yes.
I can hear you. Amanda, can you speak?
Yes, I can hear you.
Great, lovely. Now, good luck, because I have other shit to do. If you have anything,
Hey,
just tap me.
yep.
No worries. Sorry for the issues. I'll try to figure it out behind the scenes. Good luck.
Okay, awesome. First of all, we didn't negotiate specific rules, specific timing. I would suggest a simple polemic debate in a civil format where we don't interrupt each other too much. Zombie, are you okay with that?
Yeah, that sounds fine.
Okay. So now I have the honor to be the one who attacks the position of atheism, since I have proposed the topic. So you will just have to defend your position.
Okay.
May I ask you if you are in reality an atheist? Like,
I am an atheist, yes.
okay. Awesome. So now there are multiple. I will just start. There are multiple different ways to express the atheistic position. There are multiple definitions, but I would attack the most general one, and if desired, I could also attack the others. The most popular version of atheism is an atheism where you say that you don't believe in a God, because in order to do so, you have to have proof. Okay? It's not a position where you say, oh, there is no God, right? And so that would be Gnostic atheism. You are supposedly an agnostic atheist, correct? Where you say, oh, I just need proof. I need proof. Without proof, I will not believe.
I mean, I guess I don't. I would say that I would say yes to your statement, but I would also add that because I haven't had true proof, I don't entertain the idea as well.
Okay. Okay, so you are not an agnostic, so you have to differentiate atheism and agnosticism. An agnostic would say, oh, there is no proof, so I don't know which position is true, so I choose not to believe in anything. I don't know, right? This is what an agnostic would say.
Yeah,
Now,
I think I'm more, I guess, more extreme in quotations than an agnostic.
yes, yeah, yep. So, and I see a contradiction here. I see a contradiction in your position. I see a contradiction within atheism. I see a bias and a logical inconsistency, because you choose to say that you need to believe, in order to believe in God or into something. I would assume you need to have proof, and then you all of a sudden have your moral statements, which have absolutely no basis, but there you say, oh, no proof is required for my moral positions apart from referring, and I would assume you cannot prove any of your moral positions apart from referring to other moral statements which you haven't proven. So I think you have to explain to me and to all religious people and to agnostics as well why you can say with God that you need proof to believe in him, but when it comes to morals, you become biased and logically inconsistent, and here you say, oh, here I don't need no proof whatsoever, so I will just rely on my vibes, which I think this is what a theist does with God as well. He just says, I believe, no proof required. Can you resolve this logical inconsistency?
Okay, so I guess that was your opening. So just so I'm clear,
Yep.
you're asking me in your opening that I don't believe in God, but I believe in some sort of objective morality, and I can't do that without also believing in a God, therefore it's irrational? Is
I'm
that
not saying that you have objective morality. I'm not saying that. I'm
any
saying that you
morality at
have
all?
moral claims,
Any
or you have
morality at all?
values. Any morality at all. Any choices that you make,
Yeah.
which do not reside on the basis of proof, right? And then for
Oh, I
God,
see. Okay.
all of a sudden, without reasoning that is provided, you choose to say, oh, for God, I definitely need proof. And it is unreasonable, and this is what an atheist says, it is unreasonable, he doesn't only say it for himself, it is unreasonable to believe in God without proof provided.
Okay. Well, can I just,
Okay.
I'll reply, but can I just do my opening first?
Yes.
Okay, so I I guess I'd start by saying that I believe that or I think that the original way that mystic things or that God would fall into started basically kind of with the analogy of Plato's cave. Some people saw some shadows from the fire, and they had like one or two ways to interpret those shadows. The irrational way would be, oh, this is some sort of shadow god that's come to hurt me. And the more rational way would be to look to put my hand up, or put the hand up, see that the light from the fire is has an effect on me putting my hand up, and make a connection that the shadow figure is something to do with the fire. That would be the rational. So in terms of our atheists irrational, just on that particular case, I would say that they are rational because they don't believe in mystical things. Now, the other part of my opening statement, I'm not sure if it's necessarily relevant to this conversation, but I'll add it in anyway. I don't normally have a problem with religious people, not unless they have an outright problem with me. But normally I don't have a problem with religious people. I do get involved in these sorts of debates because I've noticed in the last some years that religious people seem to want to attack my epistemology or my ability to know that reality is real, or I have a way of interacting with reality through my senses. And ever since that's happened, I've been participating in these sorts of debates. So that's usually where I would get upset and decide to debate. Now, with regards to that was my opening. Now, with regards to your particular question, I haven't seen God with my through my senses. I haven't had any, let's say, things that I have seen through my senses, and I can infer that God exists. I haven't seen those either, and I haven't had any proof, as you've mentioned. Now, the way I do morality is a bit differently than what I would assume you would. I'm a rational egoist. So the way that I do morality is I do basically a sort of kind of like, there's a pre-moral question for all of us, and that is, do I want to live? And if the answer is yes, then I do these sorts of things. Okay, so let's say I do want to live, and I have to take certain actions in order to keep living. So I have to find water, find food, sleep at night. So I can do these things just to continue living, and then I have to do further things if I want to thrive and enjoy life. And I want to live the best life I can. And let's say, in terms of moral decisions, if I want to, for example, I can give you an example of a moral action I can take. So let's say I'm in a cold room, and I decide I want to live. So if I want to live, and the room is cold and it's threatening my life, I would put on a coat. So the I want to live is the is-ought statement resolved, and the action from that is put on a coat. The moral action I want to take is put on a coat.
Yes, okay. So you have expressed, right, a range of beliefs that you have, right? You have some moral claims made there, which you assume don't require proof. So,
Well, they do require
and
proof.
then my question would be,
No, they require proof. So me putting on a coat in cold weather requires facts from reality that if I don't put on a coat, I will get ill, or me needing to drink water every so often is based on facts from reality that in order to continue living as a biological being, I need to have water and have food every so often. So those are facts from reality that I make moral claims on. I
no. So
I have
that's
a biological root for my moral decisions.
yes, no. That as I previously said, right? You can provide proof, but your proof will. So you have two choices. Your proof will always reside on a scheme where you either go circular, or you go and have an infinite regression.
I disagree.
Where you refer to other
I
moral claims
completely
which
disagree.
have no proof whatsoever.
I completely disagree.
So you haven't made a claim. You have made a claim that life is important, right?
No,
I mean,
the me wanting to live my life is a pre-moral claim. Before I endeavor in morality, I have to. So let's say morality in my case is which actions do I take. So if I want to live, I have to take certain actions. If I don't want to live, I don't have to take any actions. So there's a pre-moral question saying I want to live, therefore I engage in morality. And that morality is based on reality and biological reality.
okay, what abstracts me from doing a pre-ontological claim and saying that, oh, let's say everything needs, the typical argument. Everything needs to be either created or be there at all times. So the thing that has started
I don't know what's that
everything
relevant.
that is created is God.
What is that relevant to?
Okay, and so therefore God exists because things exist.
But you hold on. You're talking about morality, and now you've moved to ontology, which is a very different aspect. Why did we jump from one topic to the other?
Because you didn't provide a distinction which would make you consistent, right? And not logically inconsistent. I see, right? I see no difference whatsoever. At least you haven't provided one between moral claims and ontological claims. You think that when it comes to ontology, you have to provide proof, right? When it comes to morals, all of a sudden you don't have to.
Okay,
apart from
let me provide.
Let's say your pre-moral claims.
Let me
right?
provide proof then. Sure, let me provide proof.
Good.
If I don't take the moral action of drinking water, I will get thirsty, and after a while, I will die. That is a fact that we can test repeatedly. We can see why. We can even see what happens to the cells if you don't drink enough water. That is a fact. That is a claim. So I have to take this action to continue living my life, and I do want to live my life. So that is simply a fact that we can prove.
Yes. Then I make a pre-ontological claim, which almost defines God into existence, and you cannot. You asked like how do you like why did you like how did you connect morals and ontology? I mean, I don't have to disconnect them. I think in order to disconnect logic, in order to use a different logic.
I'm not following.
Okay.
I'm not following what it is that you're saying. Can you maybe use different words, because I'm not understanding what you're claiming.
Okay. So you're using, I will explain everything in plain English.
Okay.
In simple English. So you're using a certain logic, right, to prove your moral claims.
What do you mean by a certain logic? Because the way I see it, I'm just using facts from reality.
Logic is the process of thinking that connects facts together.
No, logic
Okay.
is not the thing that connects facts together. Logic is Is something disowning if something is the same or not the same? And we
Did
have
you?
and we have the
What was
ability
that?
and we
It
have
wasn't
that
the definition of logic
and we
that
have
you
that
provided.
ability to be logical.
Yeah, we have the ability to be logical, and logic is a thing that that puts facts into relation with each other, right?
You mean to say
Is it
if
obvious?
if two facts are the same, that yes, that would be correct.
No. We use logic independent of facts. Okay.
No,
Facts
we cannot do that.
get applied,
We cannot do
right,
that.
into the logic and then get processed,
We need facts with
right,
logic. You
with
can't.
help of logic,
We need
right?
we need facts with logic. You can't just have logic in abstract.
I mean, why do you claim that? We do that all the time,
What do you mean?
right? Like it. I mean, we have mathematics, which is an example where we use logic in a completely abstract way. For example, right? So we can use logic in abstract, and logic is abstract itself, and then it
mean,
gets applied.
maybe
right?
I'm not. Maybe like you're talking about in an academic sense. But if, for example, like when I walk out in when I walk out in the wild, and I see like a berry that's I don't know, like a berry that's poisonous or a berry that's not poisonous, and from like past facts, I would say and using logic, I would say this berry is poisonous, this berry is not poisonous. But I need like to have the facts before to make that comparison. Now, if you're doing some kind of academic like on paper thing, then maybe we can discuss it. I'm not sure how it's relevant to the conversation though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there are two definitions of logic which are commonly used, and one is the most common, which is basically thinking process. You think, right? And then there is logic, which is the more academic definition of logic. And yet, I don't think this distinction is even relevant to the discussion at hand. Of course, facts are used within logic, right? Logic is otherwise useless without facts, but logic is the thing. It's not facts, right? Logic is a thing that connects facts together in some way, puts them into relation.
I mean,
Let's say
I'm
logic is something. If A then B, right? This is logic.
Yeah, you can say that if A is A B or something is A not B, you can do those kinds of things. Sure.
Yes. Okay. Then, in order to use a different logic, right? It is not enough to use different facts. Okay. It's not a justification to use a different logic. Right. This is the principle of logical consistency.
What do you mean
In
different
order
logic?
to use a different logic.
What are you implying when you say different logic? A logic.
Let's say the following thing requires proof, right? So this is an example of logical
Sorry,
of a logical statement.
before we
X
think requires proof.
A thing, right? An object.
Yeah.
Right. A subject of logic. Let's say X. X is a placeholder for whatever.
Okay.
It requires proof, right? This is a logical statement. So
I don't know. I'm
now,
not.
In order to,
I have a feeling that we have a bit of a disconnect because you're coming at it in an academic sense. So either you need to like explain to me the direction you're going. I'm happy to say, run with it till you reach your conclusion, so I can understand what it is the point you're trying to make. But you're not making so far intuitive claims that I can automatically agree with. So just try and make the claim, and I'll see if I can follow.
Okay. I will repeat my premise and my main argument again, and from that I will start anew, and then we walk through then we walk it through simply and see if you agree or disagree.
Okay.
So my claim is right. there is a claim that God exists. Okay. Now you say that claim requires proof, right? As an atheist, you do, correct?
Well,
So
I'm saying I have no proof. I'm not sure if I'm saying the same thing, but I'm saying I have no proof through my experience that God exists now. And I also have nothing to infer that God exists.
Well, that is not enough to be an atheist. That can make you an agnostic. An agnostic can say the same. An agnostic can say, "Oh, we don't have the proof that that God exists," right?
Okay,
But then,
let me say it.
an agnostic can conclude, or even a religious person. Okay, good. Go on.
Let me say it again. I have no experience that God exists, and I have no experience plus things that would require inductive reasoning to reach the conclusion that God exists. I have neither of those two things, and I just go around my day not entertaining the idea that God exists.
That could make you a philosophical agnostic.
Whatever you want to label
An
it
agnostic
is
would
fine.
conclude from that. Yeah, an agnostic would conclude from that that we cannot make claims about God, definitive claims, right? And even non-definitive claims, we cannot claim, God doesn't exist or God exists.
Well, in
philosophy, such thing as
so in my book, if I have no so let me add another condition, I suppose. For the possibility of something to exist, I must have some proof. So let's say this. Let's say you say I saw a red swan. Now obviously, like, swans are usually white. Sometimes there's black swans, but it's a very rare event. But never in human history has someone seen a red swan. However, swan is a bird, and birds are known to have different colors. So there is some sort of possibility that you could have seen a red swan, even though it could be very low. Now, if you say there's a purple entity above my head called floating above my head called gloop, then and it's talking to me, then I would not consider that even a possibility of that happening, because just to be a possibility has to have some facts from reality. So God doesn't meet that criteria, and therefore I don't think God exists.
Hello?
Yeah. Did you get my last statement?
Oh, okay. Can you repeat the last sentence?
Yeah, so I was
Internet.
saying God doesn't meet that criteria, therefore I don't think God exists.
Yeah. Yes. So this is already like half the work. This is the definition of atheism, right?
Okay.
So a typical atheist would say that he needs, right? And you ought to have proof in order to believe in something, okay? Into the existence of something. Let's say God, right? But then I see a logical inconsistency, right? And I don't think that you can resolve it. Logical inconsistency is where you act in a biased way, without reason, which means that you are not logical. Okay. Now I see a logical inconsistency to where you act in a moral way, where you have morals, where you have values. I don't see a reason for you to have morals and values, right? And say, I can have moral claims and statements and beliefs, but here, right, because it's not existence, I don't need any proof whatsoever. I don't see,
okay,
and
sure,
I have never seen, and atheists provide sound reasoning why for existence you have to have proof, and for statements that don't concern existence you don't have to.
Okay, let me try something with you then. Based on the previous conversation we had about a biological root for moral actions, if I say I value water, and I value water because it helps me live a life, therefore it is more for me to take actions to find and drink water to keep myself alive. would you agree that that is a statement based on facts, from reality, that has proof, that is justified, that has logic and facts and science, and any way for them to me both have a value and take moral actions to obtain that value?
Yes, however, then, right, if you claim that that is proof, that is something that proves, then it would be akin to me saying that God exists because this is what is stated in the Bible, okay? Because you refer to something that is also not proven. You refer to the value of life, which is not obviously true. It's not obviously true that life is valuable.
It's
okay?
valuable to me.
It's not obvious.
It's valuable to me.
Okay.
But you're looking at it as like a moral claims are absolute. I said I'm a rational egoist. Stuff is moral in relation to me. And I value life, and because I value life, I value water.
Well, explain to me then the reason why for absolute claims you need proof, and for non-absolute claims you don't need proof.
Which absolute
necessarily.
claim have I made?
Proof. I refer to the absolute claim that God exists.
I have not made any such claims.
Yes, you didn't. You made non-absolute claims, and then you say, "Oh, I don't need proof," which is itself.
I've provided proof. I have provided proof for everything I've said so far.
Yes, but that proof is so what you're doing is you are referring to something that you call proof, which you haven't itself proven, and then I can do the same thing with the belief in God. I can say God exists because Bible says so.
So let me just understand something. Are you saying that I'm unable to prove anything at all? Is that your claim?
You cannot have definitive proof for your proof.
Why not?
Your proof qualitatively is no different from the proof that I can provide for God existence.
Okay, so
therefore,
you're necessarily saying that
I don't see your bias. I don't see.
You're necessarily making the claim that I cannot prove anything anyway. So you don't need to prove anything anyway. Therefore, if you don't prove that God exists, then it doesn't matter because you don't need to anyway. Because I can't prove anything at all. Is that your claim?
Yes.
Okay, so humans are incapable.
We are on the same page. That's what I'm saying.
Great. So humans are incapable of proving anything.
Unless you can demonstrate it. Unless you can demonstrate it because you made the claim that proof is required.
I can demonstrate.
Right?
I can demonstrate that I, and pretty much most biological living organisms need water to live.
In order to survive, yeah.
Yeah. So is that not proof?
But why don't you?
Can you list for me?
No.
Can you list for me how, in what way humans can prove anything? Just so I understand. Just the smallest thing possible.
Well, you can prove something from axioms.
That's logic.
Okay.
I'm talking about.
You can have axiomatic statements.
You won't accept my axioms anyway because you'd say it's just presuppositions or I'm assuming them. So how can I prove something?
Yes. Then you can rely on empirics. Empirical proof.
So observations from my experience.
So you have to use senses.
Sense
you
data.
Have to use my senses and senses of other people to demonstrate to them something.
Okay, so using.
And you demonstrate.
So just so I'm clear.
And all you can demonstrate is that. Okay, go on.
Just so I'm clear, sense data is valid.
Yes.
Okay, well,
let's say it's valid.
If sense data is valid, then I've got free reign now. I can prove that I need to drink water. You know, I can observe that living beings, or even let's just stick to humans. Other humans need to drink water. And I'm a human. I can observe that in myself. I can sense data is valid, and I have no sense data that God exists. I have no sense data plus logic to infer that God exists. So if sense data is valid, then that's it.
Well, there is Bible which proves that God exists, because in the Bible it
Yeah,
states that says that it was written by God.
A Bible is a nice story.
So
A Bible is a nice story. There are many stories. I don't know if what is in the Bible really happened.
good, and I can also
Maybe you can claim that maybe like I don't know if it did or didn't happen, but I've got no, like, nothing from that's written in the Bible is happening now that I can infer, and I don't have, you know, people like from 50 years ago that said, "Oh, I saw God and he said he'll be back in 100 years. That's why you can't see him because he's off on vacation right now." I don't have any of those things.
yeah.
So I mean, I could just say Bible is a story. There's plenty of books thousands of years ago that talked about mystical things, but I've got no, sense data from reality that these things are true.
All that I'm saying is that I can go ad infinitum, right? I can infinitely go back and say, okay, that definitely proves God, right? By definition, because
Definitely
by
prove God.
definition, Bible was written by God. God doesn't lie.
How can the Bible have even been
If
written by God?
if you believe in the Bible, if you believe in the Bible, do you believe in the Bible? No.
I mean,
Okay,
I know the
then
Bible.
I can
I know
go.
the Bible exists, but I don't know if the stuff in it happened.
Yes. So then, if you do not have to definitely believe in what is stated in the Bible, then I can also reject your proof, which is also based basically on nothing, which is also not based on proof, and
No, mine
we'll
is.
have to go.
Look, mine literally is based on proof, observable, empirical proof. I don't know how else to say this.
All proof
Yes.
functions in such a way that you select a range of things, right, which we believe are true, right?
No, I'm
And
not. I'm not. I don't need to believe.
we either create a
I don't need to believe that humans need to drink water. It's just a fact. I'm convinced
no
of the fact. I don't
that
need to. I don't need to have faith in it. If I have faith or not have faith, it's irrelevant to the fact that I will still need to drink water to survive. That's just a fact in reality,
no
and it's empirically proven that humans need water to live. Therefore,
yes
because I value life, I value water.
yes, but you create, and you can see, and people can see how you create a chain, right,
Mhm.
where the bottom is itself not proven yet. So you say,
What is
I
that
value
bottom?
life.
What is that bottom?
For now, the bottom statement, the basic, the statement which is the basis, is I value life. Okay, so
What is wrong with that
do you value
statement?
life? And we can go. Well, there is nothing wrong with the statement,
Okay.
but there is also then nothing wrong with the statement that let's say Bible is true and therefore God exists. So because something that is true, obviously,
So
if it states something else, then something else is also true.
okay,
But
so
then if you don't believe in the Bible, I can go further. Just like I
let's
don't believe in the value of life necessarily.
okay, so I guess it's on me then to explain my position. I if, I as a sentient being, I have a binary option. Okay? Do I want to live or do I not want to live? I already mentioned that in my morality, this is a pre-moral question. Because if I don't want to live, I don't have to take any action. I can just lay down and wait to die. And it could be the case that in the future, if I'm unable to live a good life, as in I'm in a lot of pain, I can't function the way I want to do, and that it could be the case that someday I will choose, I can't live the life I want anyway, I choose to die. So, but until that happens,
Yeah.
in this binary option, I want to live because living is great, it's fun, I value it. Why do I value it? Because it comes with a lot of perks that I value. And once I obtain those perks, I like
Okay.
living more. And if I want to live more, I obtain those perks. It's like a cycle. It's like I want to get ice cream, so my parents say I have to clean my room. So I clean my room, then I get ice cream, and then I want more ice cream, so I have to clean my room, and then I get. So that the cycle of obtaining values is the purpose. Well, I don't know if it's the purpose, but is the thing I do throughout my life. So I want to live, I value water, then I value other things, and then I keep keep obtaining these values, and that's what I do throughout my life. And at some point, I won't be able to obtain the values that I want, and then I'll say, okay, I don't want anymore. That is the binary option that I have, and it is a fact that I can either live or not live. That is a fact in reality. Okay, so all the way down, all the circular way down are facts. All of them. There is no place that I don't have a fact behind it.
Well, you have really chosen to value life.
Yeah,
your own life.
out of the binary option, I chose life.
So you would never choose to sacrifice yourself for your own kids, for example? Since you used your atheism, it's Ayn Randian, right?
Sorry?
Oh no. Am I wrong? Am I wrong in saying that your moral system comes from Ayn Rand?
Some of the things I do come from objectivism, yes.
Okay. So so you would never sacrifice yourself for your own kids?
I may do.
Let's say
I have to
save
see.
all of your kids.
Sorry?
You have to see. And you already stated that your criterion which you have chosen, you haven't proven why you have chosen it, right? Just like I haven't proven that, like why I have chosen.
I haven't
Bible
proven why I've chosen
Bible
it.
being true.
Well, I don't need to choose. I just say I prefer one over the other.
Well, how is it not analogous to saying the same about existence of God, where the only difference is you say it ought to be that way, or like I value that it is valued, and I say it exists. Like what is the difference? There is a difference, but why?
One is a different.
You have to demonstrate what. Okay, what?
Okay,
why this difference is relevant?
Let's try to do things in reverse. Let's say
okay.
Let's say there's a well, and I'm thirsty, and it's a kilometer away from me. And I could say, look, I really, really want to live, so I'm going to make the trek in the hot sun, let's say, to the well, so I can drink water, so I can live. It's hard, but because I really want to live, then I should do those things. If I don't want to live, I'll just look. There's no point in me going to the well or not. I don't need to take this action. I don't value my life, therefore I don't value any of the things that maintain my life, like such as water. And I'm just going to stay here, do nothing till my life ends. Now, I have a choice here, and if I prefer one choice over the other, both are facts, right? Both are, I can take an action, find the water, and live my life. That's a fact. That's a biological fact that I can value the water. I find the water, drink it, and I keep living, or I don't, and I don't. Those are two facts in reality, and I choose one over the other because I prefer one over the other. I prefer to live. I want to live. Life is good, and I want to do more of it. So that's just of the facts. I chose one and continued with it. Why did I choose one over the other? Because I prefer one over the other.
Okay. But why can you choose to prefer and I cannot choose to believe?
You can choose to believe. It doesn't mean it's right. You can choose to believe there's a.
whatever you
You can choose. To, you
chose
can choose.
to.
You can choose to believe there's a floating purple globe above your head talking to you. It doesn't mean it's there.
Well, whenever you say something, you try to mirror it, right? So I can say the same about you.
No, you
Yourself,
can't
right?
say the same about me.
I
'cause
can
it-
choose to do that and that, but it doesn't mean that it is right as well. So the problem is I can always mirror, but you are biased because in your own case you say, oh, that statement, I make that statement, but you cannot make your own statement. And
well, if
without reason, you just say that.
I
Right?
can't
In your case,
make.
you have to provide proof. In my case, I don't, because I just have chosen. That's it. Okay.
Well,
Then I also
again,
have
I okay.
chosen. We are no different. You are logically inconsistent
No, I don't.
because
I
you
don't agree
use
with.
different logic, different approach in two cases. In one case, you demand proof. In other case, without provided reasoning, you demand no proof.
Okay,
So
that is completely
that is inconsistent.
that
That is
is
irrational.
that is completely false. Everything you've just said. I have provided proof repeatedly. I provided facts repeatedly. I have explained at least 3 times my position, and if I can't believe that if I don't drink water that I will continue living, because that belief is incongruent with reality. If I believe opposite to what's in reality, then I will cease to live, and therefore I cannot do it. So I do have a foundation in facts and reality. You do not, and I have repeatedly proven it, and I'm completely consistent with it. So I don't know what else to say.
I'm always referring. I'm never referring. Let's say, just always assume when I'm referring to something that you haven't proven, I'm referring to the basis that you have arbitrarily chosen. In that in this case, you have chosen the value of your own life
Why is it
to
arbitrary
be
though?
as something.
Why is it arbitrary?
Where did it come from that you have chosen that your life, your existence, is the primary criterion for doing something that is right and something
No,
that
again,
is wrong would be the opposite.
I've explained this. I have a
It's
binary.
based on nothing.
I've explained this. I have a binary choice. I preferred one option over the other.
Sure, I also had a binary choice. I preferred the option to believe in God.
Right, but
I can always mirror it.
as I've explained, I don't have the luxury of not believing believing that I don't need to drink water. You have the luxury to believe in God or not believe in God because it doesn't really matter. I base my morality on biological facts, and I don't have the luxury of believing things that are not real. Because if I believe things that are not real, I will die.
I don't see how we're talking about ontology and morality again. I don't see how the question
Did you
of
understand
reality, non-reality
did you
matters
understand
at
my
all.
point? Did you
Yes.
understand my point? Because it's rooted in biology, then
Yes.
then I'm by default rooted in reality. I have to be rooted in reality. And
Sure, you are rooted in reality, but your primary statement, your fundamental statement, is that you made the binary choice, and
I've already answered this.
but you made this binary choice arbitrarily, in my
No,
opinion.
I didn't make it arbitrarily. I preferred one over the other. It's not like I made an arbitrarity like I flip a coin and I chose heads. That's not what happened here. It's like I got two choices to walk this path or this path, and I chose to walk this path because that path is better for me. I like it more. I value it more. Right? So that was the other one is worse for me. I don't like it. That was the choice. It's not like there was some sort of calculation for it. It's not like it's arbitrary in its entirety.
So for some reason you chose
It's not some reason.
as a firefighter, let's say, not to sacrifice your life for other people. Like per your own definition. Your own definition is your own life. Okay, this is the fundamental criterion.
Okay.
So it's not a difficult bullet to bite for me
What
to say,
bullet?
oh, you know.
I'm confused. I'm confused.
I mean, can you
just make like a logical or moral statement that you think that I'm being inconsistent with, or you're being more consistent than I'm confused as to where we go from here, because I have proven things, so I don't accept that you said that I haven't proven my morality because I feel strongly that I have.
Mhm. Your proof resides on. We can also get the questions from the audience involved. By the way, let's also do that soon. But
Okay, so
your
are
proof,
atheists? So
right,
so let's
is
just say
constructed from a
let's say,
chain.
let's say that so we can argue now
Yeah.
that atheists are rational.
I mean, I will not concede that.
Because
I cannot concede
I made
that.
a rational decision to live, and I made a rational decision to take actions to keep me alive based on facts in reality or biological facts. So every step of the way, it involves rationality. Therefore, atheists are rational.
In order to be irrational, you're fundamentally irrational.
Well, at least I
All
don't.
you have done is you have proven your morality with a chain,
Okay.
and it was a very short chain. There are two links. So the second is always you claim, oh, that is the outcome, and your first chain, right, which starts everything, is your choice to value your own life over everything else. And you have made a
What
choice
do you mean?
based
Wait, first of all,
on nothing.
I don't know if it's over anything else. I just said I value my life, and again, I also made the point that this is a metaphysical question or a pre-moral question. So once that question has been answered, then morality kicks in. And while within the realm of morality, everything is rational. Everything I do is based on biology. So
Yes, you did
so
a premoral claim.
therefore I stand on the position that atheists are in fact rational.
Like it's a way to butter it up. Okay, it's a way to butter it up when you say, oh, pre-moral claim. What you're saying basically is you defined your moral system into existence, right, without proving it. I'm not saying that you have to. I'm just saying that you're being biased when you say you don't have to, right?
No, so
Because you just defined it into existence.
It is incorrect to say
with a claim.
It is incorrect to say that
Whatever helps your life is moral.
It is
By
incorrect.
definition.
It is incorrect to say that I defined it into existence because my moral system would depend on reality. So if for example I had the option
Sure.
of if for example I have the option of not drinking water or not being dependent on water to keep on living, then I would take that option. But since it's not an option, and because my moral system is tied to reality, so it's not something I can simply like invent. I mean, to some degree, I can make choices, and I can choose I can have like optional values, and some values I just have to have. Some values I can just like because it gives me pleasure or something like that. But it is still the fundamental part of it. Definitely, is still tied to reality. So I cannot simply whisk that into existence.
Okay, then I take Bible as pre-ontological, and because the Bible is a true book, everything that follows from it is true. I mean, I don't have to prove it like you don't have to prove it because it's premoral claim, right? You also don't have to prove it why your own life, is the fundamental criterion for all correct decisions.
Well, no, you can't do
So,
that, unfortunately.
Okay.
You cannot just assert that with no reason.
Okay, well, that is what I have waited for the whole debate. For you to explain why I cannot do that and you can do it.
I did already.
Now, can you?
I did several times.
Okay. What is the difference?
Which part did you?
It's
Which
biology,
part would you?
The fact that you refer to. Is it not true that a true book says only truths?
Well, I don't know what you mean by
It's
a true book.
It's a fact. It's a logical fact.
Right, but hold on. For you to say if a book is true, right, you're kind of like going away past the metaphysical option into the epistemology. Epistemology is what we decide is something true or not. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So if you say, I'm trying to determine if this book is true or not, then we've passed the assertion state that you just said. You just said, this book is true, therefore it's metaphysical. It's already not metaphysical. Now we're arguing if this book is true. And I don't know if you can recreate. So for example, I don't know if you can recreate some of the miracles or some of the more mystical elements in the book today. Therefore, I don't know if it is true. But now we're arguing in the epistemological stage, not in the metaphysical stage.
I also don't know. Again, okay. Should I draw the parallel again? I also don't know how true your statement is.
Which
If you
statement?
don't have to prove that your statement of your life being your existence, your life being the fundamental criterion for all moral choices for yourself, at least.
You can
right?
prove. You can prove
you don't
it.
have to
You
prove
can.
that-
Wait, hold on. Wait. Pause. You can prove it because I said it is a binary option. You can absolutely prove it. Like there are only two
Well,
choices. Logically there are only two choices.
well, then everything is proven because everything
No. Wait. Pause.
is
Listen.
itself
Wait.
and its negation, its contradiction.
Wait.
Then-
This isn't an Hegelian dialectic. It's literally true that the biological organism can either be alive or not alive. That's just a fact in reality. There's no third state. There's no third option.
There is no third option.
Okay,
but
so you
two
have you
statements,
can
the
choose.
statement and its negation.
It's not negation. It's a binary choice. This binary choice
Right.
logically factually exists, empirically exists.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it. That's all the proof I need.
Yeah, that doesn't constitute, unfortunately, proof.
Why not?
In no way.
Why not?
The fact that this is not what proof means. I mean, the word it's
you can empirically prove that a sentient living being can either be alive or be dead, right? The like a rock, for example, is dead. It doesn't make choices, right? A rock is not alive, right?
a rock is not alive. No.
Okay, so it's objectively true that the rock does not have this option of choosing to be alive or choosing to be dead. But a living sentient being, empirically, you can prove that it either can be alive or it can be dead. Like when it dies.
Yeah, and I would often, in multiple cases, make the choice to die. If it would involve
no, wait, nothing to do.
A lot of
Nothing. Wait,
example.
we're not there. I'm just saying this choice exists. It's a factual.
Yeah.
It's a factual choice. It's a sorry, not the choice. The condition of whether to be alive or to be dead. It's a binary option, and it exists in reality. It's empirical. So that has a fact around it. I've proven it now, and I'm just saying prior to me making moral choices, I'm saying that I have to choose to do one of those two options, and currently I prefer one is better than the other for me. That's it.
Okay, and that is okay. I will continue. By the way, Amanda, did you fall asleep or no?
No, I'm right here. Been listening the whole time.
Great. Great. So then you will be able, if somebody raises a hand and wants to, add something or ask something, right? You can help them out.
Sure. Yeah. I assumed both of you guys just wanted it, but if you want me to invite people in, I can.
Yeah, if they want to add something up, add something or like ask something.
Sure. So if anybody in the audience wants to speak, all you got to do is raise your hand, and they can. I'll bring them in.
Zombie,
Okay,
can you?
So again, I
for the laugh of myself.
I assert that atheists are rational.
Great.
Elana, come close the door.
Is it like a closing statement or something? Or?
No, I just proved it. I don't know how else to. I don't know a better way to prove it based on your criteria.
Okay, so let me recap. Let me do a summary. Okay. So I have stated that atheists demand proof for God's existence. Okay. And then they for an atheist, it's not sufficient to say that God told it to me, or it's written in the Bible, and the Bible is the true book, right? It's not sufficient proof, although it's proof, because the Bible itself is not proven, right? On that basis, atheists reject the belief in God. So, but then atheists go and have moral claims which reside at best on a chain, right, of proof what they also would call proof, chain, the basis of which is never rational, is never proven itself, right? Is irrational, and they create this logical inconsistency where in one case they demand something, in another case they demand that they don't demand that, and they don't provide any reasoning whatsoever. How in one case they have to, in one case they don't have to prove, and then you claim so. Then you come into the game, into the debate, and claim, oh, but we have proof, right? We have proof, and then you never prove this proof. You say, oh, it's a binary. That's it. That's enough.
Langford
great.
did want to
Awesome.
ask something. They raised their
Okay, can I
Go ahead, Langford.
wait? Just before Langford asks the question, let me just reply to W just for 1 second. Sorry. So yeah, I've said that I or atheists have a biological based morality. The root of my morality is based on biology. In that context, it is based on facts from reality,
Okay.
and therefore it is rational. And I've tried to prove that throughout this whole debate. Go ahead, Langford.
It's just a buzzword, biological fact. Okay.
Well, it's again based on reality, biological, because I am a biological creature, but it is based on facts from reality. Therefore, because it's based on facts, it is rational.
Langford, hello.
Hey, yeah, I just had a question for philosophical zombie hunt.
Yeah.
I thought it was a bit of a shame that you didn't really expand on your idea. Like you have an instinct to drink water, but how does that develop into an ethical system?
So it's not that I have an instinct to drink water. I know that it's a fact. It applies to myself and other biological creatures that we need water to sustain our life. How is that a
you don't need knowledge.
Sorry?
But I mean, every biological creature has an instinct to drink water. It's not as if they have knowledge of this.
Sure, we get thirsty.
Yeah. So how do you derive an ethical system from that?
Are you saying how I derive an ethical system from instincts? I don't.
So you derive it from what then? From the knowledge?
From facts from reality.
The truth is, this guy doesn't have a moral system whatsoever, right?
Why?
So I assumed he will talk about a moral system, but all he stated, oh, as humans we can make this and this choice, right? Without any claims about anything, right? Morals have to say what is good, what is bad. I would assume, right? They define that.
Well, I mean,
we definitely make the choice always to do something that feels nice.
If you would have asked me, I would have gone into more like, more better examples of, let's say, me interacting with other people, and should I act in one way or should I act in another way? And I would say that ultimately, like if I think about it from a long-term rational, self-interested position, I will come to moral conclusions. So would you like an example of me interacting with someone and then deciding if something is moral or not moral?
How do you decide whether to sacrifice? Let's say whether to save your kids from fire. Let's say your house burns down, right? And you have this choice of potentially sacrificing your life to save your children, but you don't know. Maybe you die, maybe not.
Like, well, I would go
will
in.
You save them, risking your life?
I would go in obviously and save my children's life. I think for the argument that you're looking for, I think here's maybe a lesser fatal example, and will explain the position. So let's say, as someone who follows egoism, let's say I have to babysit my children, right? And or I can go to the movies and not babysit them. So one is obviously going to the movies. Let's say it's more enjoyable in the moment, rather than babysitting my children. But then I would say that it is, if I look at it as a long term, then taking care of my children is a higher value than going to the movie and having a momentary pleasure. And therefore, obviously, if we have a long-term view and a rational view, then it would be more moral for me to babysit my children in that binary choice.
How did you make this choice?
Because I
To
value my
potentially
children.
sacrifice yourself,
Because I value my children more than I do
and then
going
you
to a
die,
movie.
and it's incompatible with your life. So in that moment, you chose to die as a living being.
So there
Okay.
can be a situation where if there potentially could be a situation where if someone very close to me in my life dies, and as a result of this person dying, like I would feel there's no point in living, that could potentially be the case. Therefore,
no point. We are not talking about no point in living.
Hold on.
We're talking about. Okay.
Hold on. Therefore, before this theoretical situation happens, if there's a dilemma where should I risk my life to save this person, that if this person dies, I would no longer wish in living. Therefore, yes, I would enter a risky situation that may risk my life.
So when you defined your moral system, you
It's just based on it's very easy.
choice, but you never.
It's very easy. You just have a long-term, rational, self-interest view of everything, and you make moral decisions.
We all make moral decisions.
Okay, but this is how I make moral decisions. I weigh my values, and I look at the long term, and then I choose the highest value. And it all works out.
All of a sudden you have values, okay? So instead of just saying what your values are, or like how you create them, or how you determine them.
Some are biological.
They have absolutely no basis in
some are biological, right? Some I rationally chose because they rationally make me happy, right? And I would feel, and because I rationally chose a particular value, my emotions will then tell me if I'm getting closer or further away from obtaining those values. And that's basically, I mean, to be honest, I would say that at some point in this moral conversation, I may not have all the answers because I'm more focused on epistemology than I do this particular element of philosophy. But I'm able to, up to this point, I'll answer your questions. But I've so far answered you. Every step of the way was rational, where I weigh something and I make a decision to choose this one because I value that one more than the other. Everything here is rational. Everything here is based on facts from reality.
Okay, so when I asked you to define say where your morals and values come from, basically to define your moral system, you for some reason talked about the binary choice of life and death, where you completely abandon it, right? In some cases for some weird categories of values which you never have proven.
I'm not sure what you mean.
And for some reason you ranted about them.
I'm trying to meticulously answer
so you
and prove.
You abandoned Ayn Randian morals, right? Which you previously chose because it was too difficult to bite the bullet of sacrificing yourself for your children. So then you have some vague morals based on nothing.
I answered all these points. You seem to be smearing me and making accusations on points where I've already answered you to the point. You seem to be flustered that you've encountered someone who has answers for you, but I apologize that I've caught you off guard, but I have provided you in good faith, without contradiction, these options. I haven't smeared you, I haven't insulted you, I haven't made any assumptions. I've repeatedly steelmanned your positions and then followed asking you if I've done so correctly. So I'm not sure why you feel that I haven't provided all the answers to prove that atheists are rational.
You mentioned some facts. some biological or whatever facts, some proofs, some claims,
Mhm.
and that is somehow has to prove that the basis of your choices at the end of the day, I mean, it has to, right? Has a solid basis, such that I cannot do the same with God, and on a weak basis claim that God exists. Like for you can in one case, in case of behavior, you can have like a weak basis, which has some proof, which at the end of the day resides on arbitrary claims, right? Freely chosen.
I don't think it's arbitrary. I don't consider it arbitrary.
Okay, then will you
Because
provide a
and I'll explain why
definitive
and
moral system?
I'll explain why I don't consider it arbitrary, because I engaged in a process where I had a choice between two or more options. I rationally concluded I want one over the other, or prefer one over the other. So I don't see why that makes it arbitrary. It doesn't definitionally make it
Based
arbitrary.
on what? Based on what? Rationally means that I mean that you don't contradict yourself. What you're saying is that you have reasoning, right? You have reasoning, you have some proof or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sure, but I can do the same as I already demonstrated with Bible.
Okay, can I ask you? Is it
fundamentally?
Can I ask you? If God asks you,
Yeah.
if God asks you to murder your son,
Mhm.
would that be moral? If God
That would be moral.
asked you to take your son to a burning bush on top of a hill, your only son that you can biologically have because you've tried for many years and you've done all sorts of treatments and you can only have one ever, and God asks you to take that one and only son that you can ever have up to a hill, take a dagger and stab him to death, would that be a moral statement?
Yeah, did he die? Did the son die? No.
I'm asking you.
We do have here Edie who would like to say something. I wasn't sure if
Yeah, go ahead.
you're okay with me
I think I'm
allowing
gonna
that
have
to happen.
to. I think
right.
I'll answer it and then I'll go because I have some things at home.
Go ahead, Edie.
I
You have the
feel
floor.
like the burden is on W to show where the irrationality is here, because you can't really prove you're rational. You have to show where there's a sort of contradiction or something. And just being a moral relativist is whatever philosophical zombie is saying with his morality. Being a moral relativist isn't irrational inherently. You have to demonstrate where the irrationality is.
I mean, maybe you showed up late. First of all, Zombie, if you have to go, please, before you go, still make a closing statement, such that people understand your position and you're not misrepresented.
I can make one quickly. I mean, again, I believe atheists are rational because or at least I, as an atheist, base my morality on biological claims from reality, and I engage in rational decision making when I act morally. Therefore, I think atheists are rational. And you can answer it is claim. It is question.
I will respond to the question. So, the claim that atheists are irrational is based on, I mean, the definition of irrationality, which is acting in a way where you have a contradiction, where you are logical, illogical, so logically inconsistent. Now, atheists are logically inconsistent, right? Not inside of their morals, not in the claim that they say we don't have a basis, right, of proof to believe in God. More atheists are irrational because in one case, when it comes to the claim about God, they say we need empirical proof. In another case, in case of morals, they don't claim that, right? They still have moral claims and values, right, which they don't have a solid basis for. The basis will be always infinite recursion into other values which they never have proven, which I can do as a test as well. I can say my God is proven by the book, by Quran, by Bible, which is true. So, and then if I have to prove that, I say, oh, the book was written by holy people and holy people would never lie. This is the same basis that they have for morals. And yet from us, they demand something that they don't provide themselves, which is contradictory. This contradiction is logically inconsistent, right? Because they use different logic in two different cases without providing a relevant distinction. You have to do that. It's a logical rule. You cannot, in one case, say, oh, all things that I see, they exist, right? And then I see one thing and I say it doesn't exist, right? You violated your own logic. You have to provide reasoning on why it's two different cases and why that is relevant. It's not only enough to have different cases and then say, oh, they are different, so I will use different logic in two different cases. That is not enough. Otherwise, analogies wouldn't function. But analogies exist. If you have an analogous situation, you cannot say, oh, in this analogy, this is different. One thing is different. So I will apply different logic now. No, you cannot do that. It's irrational. It violates logical consistency. So on that basis, atheists,
Okay,
at best know different tastes.
Have I done those things that you've just said?
What have you done?
Have
You
I
have done those things, yes.
have I been
When it comes to morals,
inconsistent? Have I been with my morals? Have I been inconsistent? Have I used two different logics?
no.
Have I used?
It's not being inconsistent within morals. It's being inconsistent when it comes to morals, and then when it comes to existence of things. Okay.
The
In case of
existence
morals,
of things?
you use one system. In case of existence of things, yes, you use a different system without providing reasoning why you have the different approach.
No, I've done.
In those both cases.
I don't think so. I don't think so at all. I've used how do I determine if something exists? We already agreed that sense data is valid. So I use sense data plus logic, and I determine if something exists in reality. And then I say, to make a moral claim, I need this thing that exists in reality to, I value it. I need to take an action to go get it. And based on how I determined this thing exists in reality, I also go after it. So it's the same method. Both are rational. My epistemology is the same the same thing I use for my morality. First, I determine facts using epistemology and using my sense data and logic and all that, and then I make a moral decision based on the facts that I've obtained from reality. That is consistent.
You always will refer to a principle that you haven't proven with science, with empirical data, etc.
Which would that be? That I want to be alive?
I don't know what your system of morals is. I don't know. You haven't provided a system of morals.
I'm trying to explain
on how to choose something good or something bad. Like
what is something good for me? What is something bad for me? Sure. Something good for me is something that is pro my life, and something bad for me is something anti my life.
Okay. Then we go again to the fact that it is a difficult bullet to buy that you wouldn't sacrifice yourself for your loved ones.
I've already answered that. I've answered that. I've literally answered that for you.
So you use your stuff you talked about somehow, but you never talked about it in a way that would demonstrate how you make the choice.
I've done that. I've done that from A to B. I've done that for you. I've said, if you recall, that I can make the choice to not live my life if I'm unable to get the values that I want, and losing someone or without someone, I can enter that situation. So I do that calculation ahead of time, and if I enter a risky situation where it may be the case that I lose my life, then I would still choose to enter it, because if I lost that person, it may not be worth living. So that's when I would take a risky action to save someone else that benefits me in some way, like my family would benefit me. And if I'm unable to have them, or if they died horribly, then it would be very depressing. I may choose not to live. So I've already answered your question. I've already answered these more. I didn't bite any bullet. I rationally made the
And
case.
those values are based on what? Those values are based on what? Because they are not based on the value of your life. They're not.
Sorry, what?
Because
They're
you
not based on
choose
the
to
value of
value.
my life. Yeah, being with other people,
on the value of your own existence.
having relations with other people makes my life worth living.
Yeah, that is a moral claim. We say having loved ones is good, but I mean,
Okay.
sure, it may be obvious, but it may be that obvious point is to say that God exists again.
I'm gonna have to stop this, because I don't know where you're going. You make assertions of things that I've already proven repeatedly. I don't understand what's going on in this debate, but I think I've done everything you've asked me so far. So
Okay.
can we
have
close
done,
this?
we have done everything possible.
Can we? I don't know what you mean. I've done
Yeah,
everything you've asked.
we can
so-
close it
Yep,
if you
yep.
guys are good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, thank you for that.
Great. Awesome. So, thank you, philosopher.
Thanks, W.
By the way.
Bye bye.
Now the debate's over. Philosophical. Did you read what I said?
Yeah, I was just in the middle. So.
Indeed. Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, you had your own argument. No, like, so, like, I mean, the question is, like, are atheists irrational, right? Like, here, I'm just gonna ask W this question, like, and that'll be it. W, is math rational?
Is math rational?
Yes.
No. It's intuitive. I mean, it was proven
Math
that
is
there are
not rational.
contradictions within math. Yeah, there are contradictions within math, specifically group theory, which have proven that math is intuitive. You cannot base math purely on logic, since there are contradictions within math.
It's a very unusual answer.
Not what you expected, right? But
No, it's not. I mean, I think anybody, like, I think the whole purpose of math is the rationality behind it.
Okay, I would give an interesting or maybe beautiful definition of math. Math is something that makes something simple but unobvious seen. Okay, math exposes a simplicity which is unobvious. This is the reason behind math.
What is rational then? If math is not rational, what is rational?
Rational is something that is logical, and logical is something that doesn't violate logical principles.
So if it is
of non-contradiction.
Okay, so if it is based in logic, it is therefore rational.
Math uses logic as a tool.
Hold on. I'm not asking about math. I'm asking if something is using logic, it is rational.
That is not enough.
Okay, then
if
what
you
else?
use logic but then contradict yourself, you have to.
Okay, so it has to be consistent and it has to have logic.
Yep.
Okay. Is there anything else? So to be clear, right? I'm going to write it. It has to be logical and it has to be consistent, right? Is there anything else to rational that needs to be there in order for something to be rational?
The most popular definition is based on logic. Yeah. So that's it.
Okay, so if it's logical and consistent, great, awesome. So math is based on logic and consistency.
Yep. It's not
So
consistent.
therefore,
No.
math is rational.
Math has contradictions. You can look up the paradoxes of math, which were demonstrated by Bertrand Russell. It's a
Well,
philosopher.
you said earlier whether or not that it is rationality is something that is logical and consistent. And so
Yeah.
mathematics is logical and consistent.
No, inconsistent. It has contradictions, like atheism. So, I mean,
So math is not rational in your mind.
It was proven that math is intuitive, not rational. Yep.
All right. Well, I guess we'll have to agree to disagree then, because I believe that math is rational.
Look up.
It's based on logic, consistent rules, very specific structures. I understand that there's like issues with math, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't base itself in logic and consistent rules. And by your very metric, it would be rational, right? You bringing up a mathematical problem doesn't actually address my issue, right? So, like, if you're able to address that, knowing that math is rational, then all I have to say is, are there atheists that can do math? And if there are atheists that can do math, therefore, atheists are rational.
Okay.
Maybe you meant atheism is irrational.
Hello?
Yeah. So he's saying that
he's
saying that atheists can do math.
One contradiction, and it's already irrational.
Right, but
Yep,
atheists are able to be rational, right?
Able, yeah.
Okay.
Irrational is when you have one contradiction, one logical inconsistency.
By the way, when you say math is intuitive, do you mean logically intuitive?
No, so it's not.
When you say intuitive,
you have to use intuition to do math.
Right, but when you say intuitive, it's not just intuitive; it's logically intuitive.
It's not. No, he didn't even say that it was intuitive. He listed what is rational, right? Listed two things that mathematics absolutely is, and then continues to say that math is irrational. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I mean, you can look up the proof that math is irrational. I did say that math is intuitive. Intuitive simply means that you cannot put math into the computer, right? And the computer will succeed at it. You know, the computer can use some mathematics. It can do some math, you know, but it cannot replace a mathematician. A completely logical computer cannot. You cannot replace.
I don't think you know what you're talking about, but
okay, sure. Argument to authority. I study mathematics as my major, minor economy. So, good. I don't have any other argument apart from people going and looking up the like proof, because I cannot prove it on stream. It's too difficult. The proof is too long. You have to look up Bertrand Russell's. It's a very popular philosopher. Proof that math contains contradictions.
I'm aware of what you're talking about, but that doesn't mean that it's irrational. Like, I asked you, what are the basis of something that is rational? You gave me specifically two definitions. You said if it is logical and consistent. So if it contains both of these things, then it would be rational. And mathematics as a system is based on logic and consistent rules. So that would basically mean that math is rational by your lights.
Yes.
You're contradicting yourself by saying that it's not.
Math is in general, right? Like vaguely rational.
Yeah, I mean, we're just moving in circles at this point. You're not going to move, obviously. You're just going to double down. It's fine.
Yeah, per definition. It's simply per definition non-rational. Like, consistent means contains no contradiction. So, I mean, since math contains contradiction,
does it contain consistent rules?
Yeah,
Are
but
the
this
rules
is not,
consistent
you could,
in math?
you use words in a pretty free way. You cannot use that words in that sense, because when I defined math,
In order for your position to be upheld, right, you're requiring to take one of the most rational systems in that humans have ever conjured and say that it is irrational.
No,
right? You're doing that, right? And I find it incredibly ironic that you happen to be doing that from a computer that is literally using the very math that does apply consistent rules in order to, like, for us to speak from across the world.
Yeah, I'm not.
Obviously, it's
very
consistent
very
and
precise.
it's logical.
I'm not attacking mathematics. I'm not attacking computers that much. I'm just saying that they have this weakness. You know, one thing they cannot do, they cannot replace mathematician right now. Cannot, because a logical being cannot replace a mathematician.
What?
Yeah.
I don't.
And when I say logic consistent, I don't mean uses consistent rules, blah blah blah. I'm being very specific. Consistent as, like, defined as, contains no contradiction.
I don't think Bertrand Russell said that
I'm very
math.
specific with my words.
I don't think Bertrand Russell said that math is not rational. I think at best, you could say that there's some things that are hard rationality and something that are soft rationality, which I don't entirely understand the division between the two examples.
Yeah.
But I don't think math is irrational or has contradiction, or let's say you could make mistakes, but then you're not following the rules of math.
Mm-hmm. No. You can claim something which is true inside of mathematics, and then you can claim its negation, which would also violate no rules in mathematics, and then you would have this thing and its negation. So what philosophers tried to do before Russell, they tried to reduce mathematics to logic completely, and then it was demonstrated that it's impossible. So, and this is why. This is one of the reasons why, like, AI models cannot replace mathematicians. They can replace artists, etc. Because art can be reduced to a completely logical system. Mathematics cannot. You would in mathematics you have contradictions even using the most basic rules of mathematics. So I mean the most basics means still beyond, like, first and fourth grade, but still so.
Therefore, math is not logical. What?
No, it's not. It uses logic, but you don't have to stick to it.
Okay, I'm curious. Does
God? But God is logical, right?
God, yeah. Does God have
Just to be clear.
contradictions?
I mean, I'm not even like a Christian or something.
Does God have contradictions?
So.
Did God say something?
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this question, just for fun, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I have the same exact issue, and I keep bringing it up with religious types to try to explain why this is this case, and I've never received a proper response. Never, not once.
Yeah.
So I've noticed an issue regarding different religions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you this. Did God create the universe?
Yep.
Okay, God made everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it's basically the ultimate predication of all things.
Right? Like, of all things that have a beginning, that have a beginning in time.
Yeah, so
yeah.
Got it. All right, so it's the predication of all things. So then my problem is it's probably ought be the most consistent thing ever. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
assume that.
let me give you just an example, right? There is, for example, the Pythagorean theorem, which describes the a squared plus b squared c squared thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And interestingly enough, the Pythagorean theorem was independently discovered among different cultures.
Yep.
There was once it was discovered in India, and there was another where it was discovered in China. These countries were, as well as Pythagoras, of course. And so these countries are fundamentally disconnected from one another. Yet they still were able to find the same rule, right? The same discovery. That would imply that there's some sort of underlying thing to reality that is consistent, right? Such as living in this Euclidean world that we find ourselves in, where it gives us that same exact metric. Like, it doesn't matter if we're here on the moon or Alpha Centauri. That rule is still consistent. So I find that interesting that we can look at the Pythagorean theorem, get a consistent rule despite the separation of people, but this ultimate predicate that predicates all things is not consistent. And it's not consistent based on what time you're born in, as well as what side of a mountain that you grew up on, or what side of an ocean you grew up on. For example, if I'm west of the Himalayas, I likely believe in some sort of either a Christian, Islamic, or a Jewish. It's the same God, an Abrahamic God. However, if I go to the east, I can see that there's Buddhism, there's Confucianism, Shintoism. And if we go just 2,000 years ago, people would have believed in things like Zeus. In the Native Americas, they believed in the coyote gods. In the Mayans, they believed in a god of war and sun called Huitzilopochtli. These are all completely different ideas. Even before that, we had animism, where it was just like believing that everything had like little spirits in it. All of these are inconsistent, right? Yet God is the predication of all things. So why would that be inconsistent, but the Pythagorean theorem be consistent?
I would answer to it in such a way that God relates to everybody personally, and God cannot relate to everybody personally in the same way, simply because God, the complexity of God is multiplied by the complexity of human. The God is too complex to be perceived by everybody as the same thing. Like the world, the universe, right? We see the universe, everybody sees the universe in a different way. Okay? Even though the universe is the most consistent thing, it's one, right? For us all. So, but we all see a different universe. We see a different world in a completely different way. I mean, good excuse? Was that like a good excuse? No?
So you're saying that because God relates to everyone personally, he gives a different message to everyone?
I mean, obviously, God doesn't say everybody like the same thing to everybody, and speaks to everybody in the same way.
Yet it's the most consistent. Just to be clear, it's the most consistent, but says different things to everybody.
I see no problem with that, right? We all can buy the same item.
I see a giant problem with that. That's a big problem.
Okay. We can all have the same computer, but we can do like the most like we can do like, so many different things with the same computer. Like we go to the same
computer is consistent, right? Because like I can pull out a computer and I can observe transistors, I can observe memory modules, I can observe capacitors and resistors, and it outputs consistent things. right? So that's the computer is very consistent, and I can do that on any computer in the world and observe that's the case. However, this thing, which is the most consistent thing ever, or it's supposed to be anyway, is not consistent based on people's personal interpretation. And mind you, right, it's inconsistent based off of a geographic boundary that are typically hard for humans to cross. I have only one answer if that is the case. That means it's made by man. That's what that tells me, right? Because when people die, stories die, and then that's the end of that God when the stories stop getting told. Right? And then, so that would explain the time thing. And then the geographic boundaries were, well, it's typically hard for humans to cross the Himalayas, and it's also typically hard to cross oceans. So that's why there's differences in those religions as well, because the people make up the religion and they base it off of whatever their external surroundings are or their past, or trying to explain phenomena that they don't understand. Right? That would be very consistent. But if God is the most consistent thing, why is it different? I don't understand. I still have no answer.
Yeah, same with the universe, right? Same with the universe. I see the universe where the Earth is flat, right? You see the universe where the Earth is round, right? Let's say.
Are you referring to a universe or an Earth?
A universe which contains Earth as well. So, I mean, like we see the same universe, we have different opinions and views on it, and everybody has, like, every scientist, like, and like dependent on geographic boundaries as well. Like, people see the universe in a different way and have different opinions. But does it prove anything? Does it prove that the universe is, like, there is no one universe for everybody to experience, no one reality? Does it mean that?
Well, I would ask some physicists, but unfortunately, math is inconsistent, so I can't do that.
Isn't it a claim in physics that there are no contradictions in reality?
The claim in physics that there are no contradictions in reality?
Yes.
Or what did you say?
It's a claim in physics.
Who made that claim?
It's in I don't know. It's a long time ago. There's a claim in physics that if two people have, let's say, you're getting data from, you're monitoring something, and two things are monitoring, and the two things are giving different answers, then the physicist would say there are no contradictions in reality. So go check if there isn't something wrong in your monitoring tools.
Oh yeah. That, like, reality is one.
Reality
is one reality, and reality is one.
Okay.
And definite. So, but I'm not sure. Like, it sounds like a practice from physics. Yeah, but I haven't read of that practice. But it's obvious that physicists work with one reality.
Whereas there's more than one?
I mean, no, there is one.
Okay, so if
we just see a different one.
If my
different one.
If my morality is based on facts from reality, then there cannot be contradictions, because unless I made a logical error, but let's assume I don't make a logical error, there cannot be any contradictions. Something to think about. Anyway, I'm gonna hop off. Bye,
Have a good day.
everyone.
Yep.